CQB and Handgun Brutality was held in April of 2024 at the Southern Utah Practical Shooting Range. This video is of my Deadeye run, all 8 stages in the sequence I shot them. Deadeye has less hits or targets required than the modern division, so that's why some of the poppers are already down on this stage. The rifle I'm using is an 1873 and 38 Special / 357 Magnum, provided by Cimarron for me to use at this match. With the yellow poppers down, the shooter has to advance, position the weighted bag in the barrel, and move over to one of the other shooting positions and knock down that target array, then carry the corresponding kettlebell back to center. You may see me hang up a little bit before firing on this stage. That's because the 1873 has an out-of-battery safety on the lever, and if I don't actively hold the lever closed, I can't actually pull the trigger. Good 2-for-1 with the 1897 shotgun. I'm borrowing from Carl there. Now I'm going to go to the Schofield revolver for this portion where I have to draw a card and shoot the corresponding plates relative to the arrow directions. But I'm not shooting this revolver as well on the clock as I did in training before the match, so I'm going to shoot it empty and eventually go back to the lever gun because it still has rounds in it. I didn't need to clear it to ground the revolver, but it's never wrong to clear a gun before grounding.
All right, unload and show clear.
I am 4th in Deadeye division on this stage. The stage begins with 10 swings of the sledgehammer on the tire. Once the swings are done, the shooter grounds the hammer, moves forward, and engages the targets in sequence. In Deadeye division, the shooter only has to get 3 hits on the Know Your Limits plate rack, alternating between that and the large plate, and then only 3 poppers, alternating between them and the large plate. That's a total of 12 hits required here, and this rifle holds 12 shots when loaded with 38 specials. I am going to have to reload 1 round for the last clearing shot to get out of here. With the action closed on a fired cartridge, it's now treated as a stick. Retrieve the hammer, and now have to move over to the next bay to engage another sequence of targets, but there's going to be 10 more hammer swings first. Deadeye division shooters can stage their guns anywhere on the course where it is safe to do so. I chose to put the shotgun over here because there's a total of 7 hits required, and it holds 5+1 shells. The name of the game for Deadeye to me is to minimize reloads on the clock and use your firearms where it makes sense to minimize reloading. Since 2 poppers went down on the first engagement, I'm going to just fire into the berm so I have the same number of shots. With the gun empty, I'm going to load 2 shells. I have 1 left on the static plate. And then I'm going to step up onto the tire, hold the gun in one hand and the hammer in the other, and get 1 last hit.
Got it.
I am 1st in Deadeye division on this stage. The stage begins seated on the Rainbow Dash horsey that moves around the more you shoot and move. The center plate is a stop plate. Go to shoot empty on it, but unfortunately I have a light primer strike, load 1 shell, get the hit. I can now exit the horsey with the action closed. I'm going to use the shotgun for the first portion of this stage because I am going to have to reload with the number of hits required. In Deadeye division, 25 hits total are required on this stage. In general, I found the 1897 easier to reload than a lot of modern shotguns simply because there isn't a lifter in the way as I load shells into the tube, and throwing them directly into the chamber is pretty smooth. It has a very big open area to get those shells in there, particularly using it left-handed. Moving on to the rifle with 12 rounds in the tube. I'm going to end up loading too many rounds on the clock here. I could have saved some time by only loading the number of rounds I need. I have to shoot prone underneath these pallets over here, and I will say that cycling the lever prone is more challenging than cycling the pump prone. I just feel like it's hard to get enough leverage sometimes cycling the action from prone. The arms core ammunition I used previously in this rifle really stuck in the chamber. The S&B I'm using is better, and I don't really experience that same problem when I'm standing up or kneeling. But from the prone, it looks like I do need to break it off my shoulder to get enough leverage to cycle the action. I am going to load more cartridges here than I need to finish the stage, but it's real easy to lose track of where you're at round count wise on the clock, particularly with a new gun that for some reason I had in my head that this thing could only hold 10, which is the case in 357, but it does hold 12 and 38 special. I'll also note these sights on this rifle are pretty fast to use. I can have a pretty sloppy sight picture on some of these bigger targets, but they do allow for fine enough aiming on the smaller targets when I need it. I am 4th in Deadeye on this stage. This stage begins by igniting the dynamite fuse. This serves as a par time for engaging these blue targets. Each one is worth -5 seconds. I start with 6 rounds in the revolver, knock down 5 of the blue targets, then engage the mandatory clearing plate. Again, I don't have to show clear on the revolver here, but it's just a habit to clear guns when I'm grounding them. I don't have any guns on me going through the tunnel here, which makes it a bit easier to get through it. Both of my long guns are staged downrange. I'm going to go to the 1873 first. I have to get 1 hit on 3 different static plates through these positions at the barrels here. There's a few places of this match where having essentially no offset between the bore and the sights makes things easier, and this is one of them. I don't have to worry about canting the gun or being able to see this target clearly through the sight versus where the barrel is. The sights are directly above the barrel. It makes things a lot easier. I also don't need to reload at all from this position because the gun holds 12 and I'm only making 9 hits. My hat was close to falling off, so I just proactively push it off. From this position, one of these spinners is mandatory and the other is a bonus. I'm using number 6 heavy game loads with a cylinder bore, and you can see it easily neutralizes these. This one, I go for a 3rd hit just to make sure, but it didn't need it. I am 1st in Deadeye on this stage. The color of the playing card you flip over becomes the no-shoot.
Don't shoot red.
Shoot the black.
Begin by getting 3 hits on this infinity target. Note I shot off to the left side to make sure my rounds didn't go through and hit any of the plates I wasn't supposed to shoot downrange. Shoot-throughs do count. Between iterations, the shooter has to carry one of the money bags between boxes. Use the Schofield at this first position. One of the plates is slow falling, so I start to grab the shotgun, but I don't need it. Lose track of where I'm at. Remember, I got to go over here, grab a cash bag, move it back over the other box. And now I'm going to have this a big array in the center of the intermixed plate rack and poppers. Holding off left edge on that first popper to make sure I didn't tag the red target. A little more confident in where my rounds are going, and I easily neutralize the rest of the targets from this position. Next up, I have 3 static steel. I'm going to use the shotgun on those to eliminate reloading on the stage.
Static, 1 each.
One last iteration of moving the sandbags representing the cash bags. And I'm going to have 1 hostage rescue headshot downrange at about 40 yards. Shot the stage clean with no penalties. I am 4th in Deadeye on this stage. Shooter starts downrange with the firearm staged uprange, condition 3. Have to run back to the bleeding simulator here and apply a tourniquet.
I got you, man. I went to a veterinary class.
It's the real old West. I fixed a horse once.
Yep.
The bleeding simulator is simply a tube fed by gravity with colored water, and
Nessie's
we're looking
still
for it to
alive.
stop.
I love her to this day.
Looks like occlusion.
Good.
Stand fast. Help's on the way.
Grabbing the 1873 from this first barricade, make it hot. I have to get 1 hit on the aggressor target between all the no-shoots, switching shoulders between each barricade. Shooting this off my right shoulder feels really weird, and I missed that first shot. Fortunately, it went between it and the no-shoots. Moving to position, I'm going to stay on the same shoulder I leave that position with to minimize time transitioning between shoulders. Of course, this does get easier the closer we get to the target. Last position, just one hit on the aggressor. I am 4th in Deadeye on this stage. This is the Area 51 inspired stage. Have to carry the power-up block position to position. Each position has a red target representing a dynamite barrel. If you get that target, you don't have to engage any of the other targets. If you do, the blue are no-shoot targets. In Deadeye in particular, it's well worth it to make sure you get those dynamite targets, because if you do, that's only 6 hits required total on the stage, and you won't have to reload anything. From this final position, there are 2 tiny circular red targets behind this armored plate, and this is another place where having no bore offset really helps. I am 2nd in Deadeye Division on this stage. Stage begins by opening this door and activating 1 disappearing target. I then have to get 1 hit on each of these steel. I'm using the 1873 from here, and then I'm going to abandon it and do the rest of the stage with the 1897. Literally riding shotgun in the gator. The RO that's driving hands me the shotgun. I cannot load it until we are in the firing area in the next bay. I wanted to use the shotgun over here for 3 reasons. The first is that I have these 3 targets coming up on the move that are easier to neutralize with the shotgun. The second is there's a lot of targets over here, and I can reload the 1897 faster than the 1873 or the Schofield. And then finally, there is a spinner target over here that's going to be easier to neutralize with the shotgun versus the 38 Special out of either my rifle or revolver. Going for the spinner first, you can see how much different just 5 yards distance makes on neutralizing it. This one's at about 15 yards versus the 10 on those first spinners you saw me engage. Now I have to knock down all the poppers. The green targets are only for modern divisions.
Yeah.
So much shotgun reloading to do, but again, with the 1897, it's pretty easy, and I don't feel like my fingers are catching on anything. But reloading out of belt loops and bandolier loops versus shell caddies is a bit slower than I'm used to. I am 1st in Deadeye by quite a wide margin on this stage, and I'm the only one who did not receive a penalty of any kind. In the final results, I am 1st out of 17 shooters in Deadeye Division, and the only one who did not receive any penalties. Shooting clean with no penalties and Stage 8, the final 1 shot, are the main reasons why I won the division. As you can see, over the course of the match, I wasn't first on many stages, but shooting clean and that last stage gave me a big edge. In the final overall results, I am 9th out of 133 shooters with my Deadeye run. Of the 133 shooters, only 6 shooters shot the match clean, and of those 6, I was 3 of them in the 3 different divisions I competed in. Thanks to Cimarron for loaning me the 1873 and the Schofield to use at this match, and thanks to Carl at InRange for letting me use his 1897 to beat him in his own Cowboy division. Competing in Deadeye Division certainly was a change of pace for me versus competing in modern divisions, and there's just something about dressing up in a goofy cowboy outfit using period guns that makes it more pure fun than competing with modern equipment. With modern equipment, I have certain expectations of myself for performance, and I know other people have certain expectations of performance for me as well. With cowboy guns, never done this before. It's much more casual, and I had 0 pressure going into this. I was actually surprised that I ended up winning the division. To participate in the division, you only need a single lever action rifle, so there's not a huge barrier to entry, and you don't need a costume either. So if you're thinking about it, I'd say it's worth giving a try. Certainly something different if you've been shooting in action shooting sports for a long time. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, please consider supporting me directly on Patreon under Sinistral Rifleman. And always remember, the Second Amendment is for everyone.